In the Old Testament, the Anakim are often described as a race of giants who caused great fear among the Israelites. These beings were descendants of Enoch, a notable figure from the ancient world. The Bible provides several references to these people and their encounters with the Israelites, particularly during their journey to claim the Promised Land. Who were the Anakim? The Anakim were a formidable people, believed to be descendants of a man named Enoch. They were closely associated with the city of Hebron, which in ancient times was called Kiryat Arba, after Arba, the forefather of Enoch. In Joshua 15 verse 13, the Bible says, according to the Lord's command to him, Joshua gave to Caleb son of Jephunneh a portion in Judah, Kiriath Arba, that is, Hebron. Arba was the forefather of Enoch. This verse establishes the link between Hebron and the Anakim. The Anakim were inhabitants of Canaan before the Israelite conquest. According to some scholars, they may have been a remnant of the indigenous people of Palestine before the arrival of the Canaanites. They are often identified with a Cushite tribe that possibly migrated from Babel. These people were known for their impressive stature, which made them seem like giants compared to the average person of that era. The Israelites and the Anakim. The Anakim terrified the Israelites. When the Israelites first arrived near the Promised Land, God commanded them to send spies to scout the territory. 12 spies were sent, and they found the Anakim living in the land. Numbers 13:33 recounts their reaction. And there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which come of the giants, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight. The sheer size and strength of the Anakim caused fear and doubt among the spies and the Israelites. Caleb, one of the spies, however, believed that the Israelites could defeat the giants with God's help. He, along with Joshua, had faith that God would deliver the land into their hands. The other 10 spies, on the other hand, spread a discouraging report among the people, leading to widespread fear and rebellion. This event is recorded in Numbers 14 verses 6-9. Joshua son of Nun and Caleb son of Jephunneh, who were among those who had explored the land, tore their clothes and said to the entire Israelite assembly, "The land we passed through and explored is exceedingly good. If the Lord is pleased with us, he will lead us into that land, a land flowing with milk and honey, and will give it to us. Only do not rebel against the Lord, and do not be afraid of the people of the land, because we will devour them. Their protection is gone, but the Lord is with us. Do not be afraid of them." The people's lack of faith led to a severe punishment from God. Because they doubted his promise, God decreed that the Israelites would wander in the desert for 40 years. Only Caleb and Joshua would live to see the Promised Land, as they had remained faithful. In Numbers 14 verses 29 and 30, God says, "In this wilderness your bodies will fall. Every one of you 20 years old or more who was counted in the census and who has grumbled against me. Not one of you will enter the land I swore with uplifted hand to make your home, except Caleb son of Jephunneh and Joshua son of Nun." The Anakim after the wandering. After 40 years of wandering in the desert and following Moses' death, the Israelites, under Joshua's leadership, were ready to enter the Promised Land. However, the Anakim still remained in the area. Joshua led the Israelite army in a series of battles to claim the land God had promised them. They defeated many of their enemies, but the Anakim were some of the last to be vanquished. The Bible recounts how Joshua and his army, empowered by God, overtook the Anakim and drove them out of most of the land. Joshua 11 verses 21-22 tells of their defeat. At that time Joshua went and destroyed the Anakites from the hill country, from Hebron, Debir, and Anab, from all the hill country of Judah, and from all the hill country of Israel. Joshua totally destroyed them and their towns. No Anakites were left in Israelite territory. Only in Gaza, Gath, and Ashdod did any survive. Although the Anakim were largely defeated, a few remained in Gaza, Gath, and Ashdod. These cities would later become strongholds for the Philistines, a people who continued to trouble Israel for many generations. Caleb's conquest of Hebron. Caleb, who had been promised the land of Hebron, continued to demonstrate his faith and strength even in his old age. When the time came, he reminded Joshua of the promise God had made to him and expressed his desire to drive out the remaining Anakim in Hebron. Despite being 85 years old at the time, Caleb was still determined to fight for the land that had been promised to him. Joshua 14 verse 12 records Caleb's words, "Now give me this hill country that the Lord promised me that day. You yourself heard then that the Anakites were there, and their cities were large and fortified. But, the Lord helping me, I will drive them out just as he said." Caleb's faith in God's promises was unwavering, and as a result, he succeeded in driving out the Anakim from Hebron, claiming the land as his inheritance. The timeline of Caleb's conquest is debated among scholars. Some believe that Caleb defeated the Anakim during the initial conquest led by Joshua, as seen in Joshua 11. Others suggest that the Anakim returned after the original battle, and Caleb defeated them again in a subsequent battle. Regardless, the Bible is clear that Caleb eventually drove out the Anakim from Hebron, securing the land as God had promised. The significance of the Anakim. The Anakim were associated with the Nephilim, an ancient race of giants mentioned in Genesis 6 verse 4. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown. This connection suggests that the Anakim were part of a lineage that had existed since before the Great Flood, adding to their mystique and the fear they inspired. The name Anakim itself is thought to mean long-necked or tall, emphasizing their great height and physical stature. The Hebrews believed that they were descended from the Nephilim, a powerful and ancient race of giants that ruled the world before the flood. In Numbers 13:33, the Israelites compared themselves to grasshoppers in the presence of the Anakim, highlighting the vast difference in size and strength between the two peoples. Moses warned the Israelites about the challenges they would face in conquering the land, including driving out nations that were greater and stronger than they were, whose inhabitants resembled giants. However, Moses assured the Israelites that God would go before them like a consuming fire, ensuring their victory. Deuteronomy 9 verses 4-6 says, "After the Lord your God has driven them out before you, do not say to yourself, 'The Lord has brought me here to take possession of this land because of my righteousness.' No, it is on account of the wickedness of these nations that the Lord is going to drive them out before you. It is not because of your righteousness or your integrity that you are going in to take possession of their land, but on account of the wickedness of these nations." Moses also warned against spiritual pride, reminding the Israelites that they were receiving the land not because of their own righteousness, but because of the wickedness of the Canaanites and God's faithfulness to his promises to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Israel's possession of the land was a fulfillment of God's covenant, not a reward for their merit. The Anakim were a significant part of Israel's journey to the Promised Land. They represented the seemingly insurmountable challenges that the Israelites faced, but their defeat demonstrated God's power and faithfulness. Despite their immense size and strength, the Anakim could not stand against God's will. Through the faith of men like Caleb and Joshua, the Israelites were able to overcome these giants and take possession of the land that God had promised them. Their story serves as a reminder that no obstacle is too great when God is on our side.
If you found this video enjoyable, please consider liking and sharing it. Additionally, subscribing to this channel will ensure that you receive more updates in the future. Thank you.